What is going on everyone? Nostalgia925 coming at you with another Explaining Digimon episode. I'm very excited for this episode because we're going to be talking about the Digimon I mentioned in the Explaining Leomon video, but never went in depth when discussing it. I'm talking about Orochimon, a gigantic dark dragon Digimon possessing 8 heads. I know I say dragon, but since it is based on the Yamata no Orochi from Japanese mythology, you could say it is an 8-headed serpent. By the way, I did talk about this Japanese creature in the Explaining Mythology series, where we take a look at the mythological and religious inspirations of certain Digimon. I'll make sure to link it at the end of the video. Now, Orochimon finally got its own line in Digimon Adventure 2020, giving us the opportunity to dedicate an entire video to it, so let us just do that. You could say that Orochimon can thank its existence from Negamon, historically spoken a very important and yet unknown Digimon that grew by being immersed in negative data that the network is overflowing with. And just for your information, the network, also called the Internet, is the manifestation of the World Wide Web through which the human world transmits a limitless supply of information. And that is perhaps the main reason why the Digimon universe keeps on expanding. The Internet is the boundary of the digital world through which human hackers and evil Digimon frequently attempt to penetrate or abuse for their own selfish desires. And that is why it is protected by the firewall, and depending on what server we are talking about, it is protected by particular Digimon. The Olympus 12 managed the digital world Iliad, which exists on a different server from the digital world ruled by Yggdrasil, where the Royal Knights are among those who are patrolling the firewall. I said that Negamon is historically an important Digimon because it originally used to exist to bring disasters to make the digital world evolve from accumulating and learning. One such disaster was the ancient war where Gulmon led the army of darkness to attack the army of light. We'll talk about that war later, but just know that Gulmon was a servant of Negamon. Flash forward, in August 2020, Negamon starts its plans for a new disaster by dropping a large amount of Digi-Eggs into the network, which hatch into a swarm of fresh level Argomon and digivolve all the way to the champion level. Omnimon fought and destroyed the mega level Argomon in order to redirect the controlled nuclear missile from hitting Tokyo. This prompted Negamon to drop another Digi-Egg in the network, and this one hatched into Eyesmon Scatter Mode, Orochimon's new rookie form. Eyesmon is kind of a special Digimon because, despite directly coming from a Digi-Egg, it came out a champion and not a rookie. We're talking about a demon dragon Digimon that monitors social networking services where large quantities of data leak and consume and store larger data. Eyesmon Scatter Mode's consuming was so strong that it causes immense blackouts in Tokyo. Now, when you hear Scatter Mode, I'm sure you can imagine that the Digimon did not take its full form yet. That is because they are but the scattered form of Eyesmon. That is why their power is relatively weak due to them being scattered. They only come together once they sense that they are in danger. They will then converge into one as Eyesmon. As the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Eyesmon became a whole new being. Despite still being a champion, depending on the more data it accumulates, its power surpasses even that of ultimates. It will all depend on how much it has stored. It has the ability to transform the data it has accumulated into objects and uses them for offense and defense. That is how it manipulated the data of the city to block the attacks of Metal Greymon, Mega Gabuterimon, and Lilymon. It wasn't until Garurumon, Garudamon, and Zudomon joined the fight to defeat Eyesmon. This feat does show that Eyesmon has lots of potential, and it reminds me of the Don Devimon video where we discussed how Devimon was able to fight and even defeat the Digidestined's partner Digimon that digivolved into their champion form. Devimon, despite being a champion itself, probably became as strong as an ultimate Digimon because of the black gears it absorbed. These are good examples to show that Digimon are not necessarily more powerful depending on their levels. They can have various upgrades to their raw powers, they can attack in groups despite having an inferior level, they can have different strategies to take down Digimon with a superior rank. And strategies are certainly a must if you wish to defeat Eyesmon. And its name does it justice, as it does not miss any of the enemy's movements. So, on top of having accumulated immense power due to the absorption of data, it's also someone or something with an increased eyesight. So it's very interesting. being defeated by the Digidestined, Eyesmon still survived and digivolved into Orochimon. It's a Digimon that I grew very fond of because it has such an interesting design. Just like Negamon, Orochimon is also a Digimon with a historical importance. Its roots are old, and it was a being that raged in all its fury in the ancient digital world, driving some areas to devastation. In fact, in the ancient digital world, Orochimon was sealed by the servant of a being which sought to preserve the harmony of the digital world. I can't tell who that being was, although as is written, the ancient digital world has its heroes. So I suspect the one to seal Orochimon was either Imperial Digimon Paladin mode, Shakumon, which is an angel Digimon which descended to the ancient digital world, or Lucimon, although I think it might be unlikely because Lucimon only descended when the digital world was in a dire need. I know that Orochimon, along with other Digimon like Sanglupmon, were Digimon bringing chaos, but to bring the digital world to the very brink of collapse, I think we might be talking about another type of menace. But don't get me wrong, Orochimon is extremely powerful. In fact, when Orochimon roars, it can create strong electromagnetic pulses that affect the real world as well. The Digimon is so powerful that it overpowered the Digidestined, who were forced to retreat and go into hiding. Maybe I'm wrong, but I will guess that Orochimon's powers might also depend on how much data was absorbed by its previous forms. In the mythological series, I explained how the Yamata no Orochi only got killed after falling into a deep, drunken sleep, right? The alcohol was given by the deity Susanoo, a character coming from Japanese mythology, one that is portrayed as both good and bad. You can say that Orochimon is sort of like the reincarnation of the revenge of the Yamata no Orochi. I say so because Orochimon's primary attack is called Sake Breath. Sake is a Japanese rice wine. Orochimon gets the opponent completely drunk by intoxicating them with its alcohol-laden breath. It has an upgrade of this attack called Spiritus Breath. It subjects high concentration alcohol to high pressure, vaporizing and releasing it. The spiritus is a reference to rectified spirit. This is normally used in medicine and as a household solvent. Because the alcohol is very high proof, overconsumption can cause alcohol poisoning, which may result to death. So imagine, with the immense height of Orochimon, what could it do to those trying to attack it? It could immediately incapacitate them. In the anime, it took all Digidestined to defeat the Digimon. For that, they needed to destruct 7 other heads, which are only dummies. Metalgreymon gave the finishing blow. Despite being defeated and losing its head, a mysterious phenomenon resurrected Orochimon's head and made it draw massive amount of data from the real world, just like its previous form Eyesmon. It made it digivolve into Nidhoggmon, a Digimon that draws even more energy from the real world, even causing smartphones to overheat and windows of skyscrapers to explode in the real Tokyo. The energy it absorbed can be used to annihilate whatever it wants. Nidhoggmon's name is a reference to Nidhogg from Norse mythology. It's a dragon/serpent who gnaws at the root of the world tree, Yggdrasil. This Digimon is giant and colossal. It takes vast amounts of energy into its body and is constantly overheating. The color emitted by its wings represents the extent of its overheating. The more it approaches danger level, the redder it becomes. I would say that its special ability is to repeatedly destroy and absorb things, leaving nothing behind in its wake. With the absorption, it might mean that it becomes stronger and stronger, making it more difficult to stop it. According to Kenji Watanabe, Nidhoggmon is so big, its tail would extend from Shibuya to Asakusa. This means that it is 16 kilometers long or 9 miles 94, probably making it one of the biggest Digimon to ever exist. This makes me want to make a video about the top 10 biggest Digimon in existence. We should do that. It took an Omnimon to defeat Nidhoggmon, and to be very honest, I'm not even sure if I really agree with the outcome. I'd have wished more Digimon were involved just to show what Nidhoggmon is all about, but I digress, it's just me talking. There is another Digimon Orochimon can digivolve to, but before explaining that, let me tell you the following. As far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there are about 3 to 4 Orochimon that are known to have existed. The first was the Orochimon that caused lots of havoc in the ancient digital world. The more recent Orochimon is the one we discussed, the one who would end up digivolve into Nidhoggmon. This leaves us with what I would call the second Orochimon, although there might be other Orochimon around. Anyway, the second one is probably the one who was originally partnered to one of the original Digidestined. All we know is that its partner was an unnamed girl who was with Orochimon in a climactic battle against the Dark Masters, meaning against Pythmon, Metal Seedramon, Machineramon, and Puppetmon. That same Orochimon wasn't an evil one, but was a good one, and instead of digivolving to Nidhoggmon, it digivolved to Ebonwumon, one of the Digimon sovereigns that guards the north and commands the Deva Digimon Vikaralamon, Kumbiramon, and Vajramon. Ebonwumon is sort of like a master illusionist in the Digimon universe, as it excels at displaying illusions, destroying the spirit of the opponents. It also uses phantasmagorical water techniques, and for those who do not know, phantasmagorical describes something with a dreamlike, fantastical, unreal, deceptive, or shifting appearance like an optical illusion. Now, even though the records tell that Orochimon was a very bad Digimon, Ebonwumon possesses a gentle personality. That is a big change. I'm probably going to disappoint the lot of you, but Ebonwumon, as a member of the Digimon Sovereign, has an important history, so if I start talking about it here, I might not do it justice. It does deserve one of those big videos where I focus solely on the Digimon Sovereigns, their roles, how they manage the Deva, etc. Which is why you have to hear something I've said so many times. Ebonwumon will be discussed in another video. Hey guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, Orochimon truly is a Digimon I like. Its appearance is so impressive, and it reminds me of that one day where I carried a snake. Too bad I don't have the pictures anymore. I did yell like a little kid. No jokes, but thinking back, it was one of my most beloved memories. Let me take advantage of this situation to say the following. I released my first explaining Pokemon video. I swear it was so much fun. It was much more fun than I expected. I only talked about 3 Pokemon, but the information that was out there made me talk way longer than what I would have guessed. Guys, I want you all to not worry. I am not going to abandon Digimon ever. Digimon deserves more attention, and there aren't a lot of Digitubers out there in the first place, so I'm happy to take this responsibility to explore Digimon. So again, don't worry, I will keep on doing Digimon. Pokemon will be a wonderful addition to the mix. I promise you will see. Now, if you guys are new, please make sure to subscribe and drop a like and a comment in the comment section. That's how I'll know that my work is appreciated. If you are new, know that all my videos are placed in particular playlists which are always updated. That way you can catch up on the newest and oldest videos.